Media scandal. A doctor quoted by the New York Times is now being linked to Hamas. And now this. Did the IDF just accept Hamas's Gaza death toll claim? 70,000? Then Trump says Hamas will disarm in phase 2, while Hamas says no chance and keeps rearming. So what's real? What's spin? And what are they hiding? We're unpacking it all, only on JNS, only on the Quad. Welcome back, everybody, to the Quad, and here in our Jerusalem studios with my wonderful co-host, Shoshana Keats-Jaskell, the co-founder of Chokhmat Nashim, elevating and defending women's voices in the Orthodox world, Bellamy Bellucci, activist par excellence and a dancer and a model. She's so many things. Great that she's with us. And for the second time, David Lang, the executive director of Israeli Cool, really the OG influencer, unpacking all the lies for many decades now, David. Am I aging you?
You've aged me.
But you know we're the same age, so it's all good. It's all good. Okay, there's so much to unpack this week, and it really all centers around the work that we all do, which is exposing lies, unpacking lies. So let's start with the story of that the New York Times quotes a doctor. Of course, they've been quoting doctors for 2 years, doctors from everywhere. They've said every libel imaginable. They've said that they've seen bodies without major organs because, of course, Jews steal organs. We've heard that one before. We also poison wells. That's 1,000 years old, that one. And that we've shot children in the head. Blatant lies. And guess what? It turns out that one of these doctors quoted by the New York Times, why should we even be surprised, seriously, is a senior member of Hamas. And I just have to say one little thing about me and my own little pride. On my Wikipedia, we all know what those guys are up to, it says that I said in a TV interview that all doctors in Gaza are terrorists. Am I right? Or am I right? David, you spend your life literally finding these pieces of libels, of news, and then finding out the truth. This can't be a surprise from the news outlet that took a kid with a congenital illness and said this is starvation, while his mother is looking like she hasn't skipped a meal.
Well put. So yeah, obviously it's not a surprise, first of all, that this doctor was a Hamas colonel. He was a colonel. It wasn't even like an underling. He was like one of the, the big guys in the movement. And it's, of course, not surprising, unfortunately, that the New York Times, the New York Slimes, as some of us like to call it, would stoop that low. But again, it's not the first time we've seen a medical professional in Gaza implicated in the crimes that we've seen. I mean, even correct. There are teachers, lawyers, dentists. Sorry to say.
Dentists. Well, it wasn't my husband, so
it wasn't your husband. Your husband's a good guy. But for instance, Noah Marciano, one of the hostages we saw recently, actually, it came out that she was murdered by the doctor that injected air into her veins
in Al Ali Hospital.
Yeah, there's another one of the hostages. I think it was Romy Gonen, who had said she was sexually assaulted by a nurse. You had another hostage that had been actually kept. So it was Emily Damari said that she had been kept and under the, let's say, the control of another Hamas doctor, and she had to call him Dr. Hamas or something along those lines. So even very recently, but if you're going back years and years and years, it's been known that we've always been uncovering these connections. So the question, and maybe it's not really a question because we know that the New York Times aren't doing their due diligence, but I would ask, is it a matter of them deliberately not asking the questions that have to be asked, plausible deniability, or they're just really bad journalists and doesn't really matter either way?
Because it's not reporting anymore. It's taking the things that speak to their agenda. It's only taking the bits of so-called news from the mouth of the terrorists that tells the narrative they want to tell.
Well, it's worse
That's why they're not doing their job, right?
It's worse than that. This guy, Hassam Abu Safia, published multiple op-eds. It wasn't like he was quoted. He he
Published.
Platform.
full op-eds accusing Israel of genocide. He was presented by the Times as a pediatrician and a hospital director.
Yeah.
He was then photographed in Hamas military uniform, and they didn't. And this was years ago. This wasn't just now. Years ago this was done. It's like you put a stethoscope on yourself, and you're like, I'm a doctor, so like I'm immune. Like it's like like you're playing tag and you like hit home base, like you're free. No, that is not journalism. You cannot do that. You can't platform just anyone. And these kinds of lies. The New York Times is a staple of American homes.
Was.
My grandmother, God bless her, and she's not alive anymore, but she should rest in peace. But she would read the Times regularly, and it's really sad.
Yes.
It's been years already that it's been like this, but every time something like this comes about, it's just sadder and sadder that they are platforming people who are not only anti-Israel, because that's not something that is, in and of itself, something that should get you not be able to be printed, but are liars and are biased and are clearly misrepresenting everything. And they're putting them out there because the New York Times has a name. It still does.
It's like the BBC. It's really no better. And it's all really from the school of Al Jazeera, right?
Absolutely. And in 2012, I was reviewed by them when I was dancing. So I was in the New York Times, which at that point in time is not, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is a huge achievement. I would laugh if it happened today. Quite frankly, I wouldn't care what they had to say, because if you still have the same people that are saying that there's a famine going on in Gaza, and then you have, what's her name, Bisan, the so-called journalist, who has gone 5 times the size as time goes by, and people keep believing, well, this is the thing, if there is a famine and people handle stress in a different, she's huge. Yes. The only thing that Gaza is missing in aid is Ozempic. That's the truth of the matter. That's what they need to be doing. And if you think that I'm going to listen to somebody tell me, no, but they're actually a doctor. Oh, sure. Just like that actor that died a million times in Gaza who literally was one thing to the next. Yeah, he was a journalist. Great. Okay.
And just like we allegedly killed 220 journalists, you mean we killed 220 terrorists who were pretending to be journalists? Some of them were holding hostages. Some of them were raping hostages.
Yeah. I mean, by the way, he was the director of the Kamal Adwan Hospital. Do you know who Kamal Adwan was? I mean, that should be the first hint that we're dealing with someone more sympathetic. So he was a PLO, like higher up in the PLO. The Mossad actually took him out. Not on a date, they really took him out. And basically some say that he was one of the masterminds behind the Munich massacre. Oh, so, really? I mean, it's embedded in a culture.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's not surprising. And, obviously in Western culture, we have the whole idea of innocent till proven guilty, the presumption of innocence.
Yeah.
And I would espouse that over there in Gaza, we should have the opposite. It should be the presumption of, not to say that we, God forbid, do anything, execute any serious judgments or anything like that. But, I mean, you really have to do your due diligence. That's the bare minimum.
But they don't.
If they approach someone who says they're a doctor, they need to say, well, wait a minute, he works for a hospital that is named after a terrorist. Maybe we should investigate this. So
well, let's not forget that Rantisi, who was one of the leaders of the Second Intifada, Hamas member, was a pediatrician or a gynecologist. They're all doctors, but they're still all terrorists. Guess what? It doesn't make a difference. And so I'm very proud that on my Wikipedia it says that I said that all the doctors there are terrorists, because it turns out they are. Now, talking about news, talking about agendas, and talking about numbers, you mentioned it a little bit here, Bellamy, about the myth of starvation and famine when you have journalists who basically put on 3 times their weight. Before we jump in, a quick invitation. The 2026 JNS International Policy Summit is coming up this April 15th through to the 17th, once again at the Waldorf Astoria in Jerusalem. I'll be there, and I really hope you'll join us too. You can visit jns-summit.org to register and to see the speaker lineup. It's an exceptional group this year. I look forward to meeting you in Jerusalem this April. But this week, there was another controversy where Haaretz misquoted another news agency who said that Israel had admitted to 70,000 deaths in Gaza over 2 years. Now, the IDF never admitted anything. The person who said it from the IDF was quoting Hamas numbers, so they took him out of context. They made it into a headline, and then, of course, you've got the usual suspects like Piers Morgan and Mehdi Hassan saying, "We told you so." But even if those numbers are correct, okay, we claim that 25,000 of those 70,000, even if that number is right or wrong, are terrorists. And now I went on a little hunt here, numbers hunt, which is not my thing, but I thought it was very interesting. In a population of 2 million people, how many people a year do you think die of natural causes? I'm throwing it out there. How many people? Well, it really depends on the age of the population. But if the population is a young population, like we can assume Gaza is a young population,
Yeah.
the number of people that die for natural causes in a year in a population of 2 million, and I'm being generous here because it's 2.1, 2.2 million people, is about 14,000 people a year. So let's take Hamas's numbers, 70,000. Let's take away natural causes, a year. 14,000 a year.
Right.
That's 28,000 people dying of natural causes, because no, in a war you don't live forever. You still die of diabetes and high blood pressure. That still exists. Okay? So 70, take away 28. I'm not good at numbers. David, you better at numbers than me?
Yes.
52?
No,
Of that
no,
52?
I'm going to disgrace myself.
No, is that 52 or 42?
I think it's 42.
42. 42. Okay, 70? I didn't do five things math. So 70.
Only Israelis know what that means.
70, take off 28 is 42.
42, yes.
Thank you very much. 42. Of that, take off the terrorists. What is 42 minus 25, everyone?
17.
17. So yes, maybe 17,000 people, innocent people died, and that is a tragedy of the war that we didn't start. But even if those numbers are correct, you have all these people on their soapbox to say, we told you so. No. What you told us was that all of those people were killed by Israel. And what we're saying to you is that most of those people were in fact terrorists killed in a war that we didn't start. No such thing as genocide. And the same report says that there was nobody who died of famine. There's a surprise.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a number of other issues that are sort of being missed in all of this. First of all, innocent civilians die in war, as you alluded to.
Yes.
And this isn't a war that we started, but we are being accused of genocide each and every day.
Yeah.
And we have the capabilities to commit a genocide if we wanted to. Why would we drag out a war when we could carpet bomb the whole place? I'm not saying we should. I'm just pointing out that the idea that we're committing genocide is ridiculous.
And why?
We're basically risking our young soldiers.
We did.
Not basically, it's true.
we are.
Israelis
We
died
are.
because we didn't
So
want to.
obviously anyone with a functioning brain cell will know that the idea that we're committing genocide is ridiculous. If you just think a bit, just take away all the bluster and the noise and the Hamas talking points that the media and others are perpetuating, and you'll see that it just doesn't even make any sense. So we're sort of arguing about numbers here, but also what you mentioned is that it was never about the actual number. We don't know. The point was that Piers Morgan and friends were always quoting numbers. It came from the Hamas Ministry of Health. Yeah. By the way, when Piers Morgan did his gotcha this week, if you look at the wording, he goes, something along the lines of the Israeli officials or the IDF now admit to the Gaza Ministry of Health's numbers. Now, I believe it's deliberate. He says Gaza Ministry of Health because think about how ridiculous, even Piers Morgan knows how ridiculous he would sound if he goes, now they admit to Hamas's numbers that we've been quoting. The Gaza Ministry of Health is Hamas. It's Hamas. Yes. So there's a lot of smoke and mirrors going on here, and you just have to ask the basic questions. One other point I want to mention before I leave it to one of these wonderful ladies is that in April 2024, Hamas admitted that their numbers that they were coming out with at the time was about 33,000 casualties. They admitted 1/3, 11,000 of those casualties were based on incomplete information. Like they even admitted that their numbers back then were not even accurate.
But they also admitted that 3/4 of them were combatant age men.
Yeah, well, and if you looked at the analysis and you looked at the number of casualties all along the line, I did my own analysis. There was such a disproportionate amount of like men between like just say 25 and 40 or 50,
What a coincidence.
which statistically speaking means, come on, they'll call them terrorists.
Age men.
But you know how back in those days at least, I don't know if it continued, but you know how they like were reporting casualties?
Yeah.
There was a Google, no joke, there was a Google form, and anyone that wants to report a martyr could do it. And basically, I reported a martyr called Hugh.
Google form.
I reported a martyr called Hugh just to see if that would pass muster. I didn't actually check back if he was listed amongst the casualties, but the point is a serious point, despite the frivolity there, which is that how could any serious journalist or anyone believe the numbers to begin with? And why are they now saying gotcha, gotcha,
See,
gotcha?
and I think this is all the wrong question.
Go on.
I think
Go on.
you know the idiom, the anti-Semite doesn't accuse the Jew of stealing because he thinks he stole. He accuses the Jew of stealing to see him turn out his pockets. We're turning out our pockets.
Yep.
No, it wasn't 70,000. It was this and it was that. F you, okay? Every single person that died in Gaza, Jewish, Israeli, non-Jewish, Muslim, whatever, is because of Hamas.
Yes.
Every single one. Because of October 7th, and because you didn't give them up when you could have, and because you hid in your tunnels instead of hiding your people in tunnels. So whether it's 70,000 or 700,000, every single one is on Hamas. And us turning out our pockets saying, no, 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 is the wrong answer. I'm sorry.
Shana, and now you're going to be quoted saying that 700,000
Good.
people died.
Quote me, bitch.
Is Morgan's now gonna...
Shoshana! What happened?
Sorry, Mom. Actually, my mom would say the same thing.
Absolutely. But no, I think you're right to the point that we always have to be on defense.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. And no, it doesn't seem to me like the Iranian Islamic regime who've killed 40,000 people in 2 weeks.
They don't care.
They're on defense, right, Bellamy?
I'm bothered at the fact that we keep doing that to ourselves. I'm bothered at the fact that we all constantly keep having to hasbarize every single thing every 2 seconds. But at some point, I think what we need to realize is the real genocide is happening right now. Great. It's happening
exactly.
right now in real time. This is what's going on. And the world is too busy talking about, still to this day, I mean, no offense, Palestine, but you've had a moment. You've had like, take a break. And they keep saying, like, a free Palestine. There's a genocide happening
Right now.
right now, down to the fact that it's a real one where they're actually, that was the most disgusting part, that they're doing it to their own people.
Yes.
Like, okay?
Yes.
So people need to understand they're doing it to their own people.
Yes.
And to leave in such a barbaric way, that there are people that have been shot whose skulls are like wide open. The videos of people in body bags, some of them weren't even, their pulse hadn't stopped and they're left there to die
Yes.
in hospitals.
In a bag.
Real hospitals,
Yeah.
not a set.
Yeah.
There's the BBC on the one side telling somebody to cry at action and laugh afterwards. They go, this is real. That's actually what's going on. But you're so indoctrinated and you've become so warped by this narrative that they're all living on, because Palestine needs to be free.
But you know what? The worst thing about it is that every time you see a report in the mainstream media about the numbers there, they say, after they say the numbers, we cannot independently
Yes.
verify those numbers. And you could with Gaza?
What, you mean that they're not quoting the Iranian regime hospital ministry?
Apparently,
Where's Piers when you met him?
they cannot independently verify the numbers. But guess where apparently they didn't need to independently verify the numbers, when Hamas was giving them the numbers. And that's the sick hypocrisy of what's going on in the world, whilst Iranians are dying every single day. Oh, we have to pray, really have to pray for the end of this, for the intervention, for the end of this sick regime, which is funding so much of the evil that's going on in the world right now. But let's go back to the evil of Hamas, because recently President Trump says that we're going into phase 2. Ran Gvili's home, thank God. In this show, we prayed from the minute we set up this show every single week for the hostages to come home. And this is the first week we won't have to do that.
Amazing.
It's really amazing. But now that Ran Gvili has been buried in the dignified burial he deserved with his family, Trump says that we're jumping to phase 2 and that Hamas is going to disarm. Watch this.
They're going to give it up. They're going to give up the AK-47s.
A lot of people said they'll never disarm. Looks like they're going to disarm. Hamas has agreed to give up their weapons. They made an agreement that they were going to disarm. Hamas pledged, they swore that they were going to disarm.
لم يحصل في لحظة من اللحظات أن تكلمنا عن تسليم السلاح ولا عن أي صيغة لها علاقة بتدمير أو تسليح أو نزع سلاح وما إلى ذلك من قضايا.
حماية مشروع المقاومة وسلاح المقاومة. هذا حق شعبنا في الدفاع عن نفسه. المقاومة وسلاحها شرف الأمة وعزها.
وسلاح سبب وجوده الاحتلال موجود، سيكون هذا السلاح موجودا. الاحتلال يعتدي علينا، سيكون هذا السلاح لقتاله والدفاع عن النفس. فكرة أنه تسليم السلاح هي فكرة لا تقبلها المقاومة.
Can a scorpion stop being a scorpion? Nope.
No.
So so how's this going to play out? Let's just do fantasy football here for a second. How's this going to play out? So they're not going to disarm. Are they going to pretend they're giving up their AK-47s, but they're keeping their handguns? But apparently they're saying now that RPGs are defensive domestic weapons. RPGs.
Well, we just
You go to see,
I mean,
like, what's going to happen right now?
Oh, girl, we just destroyed a whole tunnel where there was like a whole cache or cache. How do you say that?
Ashay, I think.
Shay.
Thank you.
You don't speak French?
I don't speak French. No, je ne parle pas français. A cache of weapons, RPGs and RPG launchers and and I'm like, it's like Macy's down there. You know, it's like they can just go shopping down there for these Macy's, whatever, Bloomingdale's. Sorry,
Toys R Us.
maybe it's like.
Toys R Us.
No, I don't think they're gonna disarm. It's like the whole idea of like the Iranian regime disarming. Like, this is their life. This is their purpose.
This is their raison d'etre. Exactly.
Yes.
This is their raison d'etre. It's like the old, the old story of the turtle giving the scorpion a ride to the other side of the river. And he says, of course, I'm not going to bite you, because if I bite you, we both go down. And he bites him and they both go down. And the turtle says, well, why did you do that? He said, because I can't not be a scorpion. Yeah. This is Hamas. Yeah.
I mean, I love Daddy 47, but they're not going to disarm. Let's get real. They're not.
What?
I love Daddy 47.
Oh, Daddy
but,
47.
They're not going to disarm. And I could blab on and talk in circles right up my tuches, but they're not going to.
But I think Trump knows that. Meaning,
exactly.
What you have to, everything with Trump, you have to look at in the prism. He's a negotiator. Everything that he says is a negotiating position. He knows. He's not dumb. He wasn't born yesterday. He's a very, very good negotiator. Whatever you think about it.
best.
He knows. He's like a chess player,
Yeah.
and everyone else is playing shesh-besh.
Yeah.
So he's already thinking a few moves ahead. He knows how Hamas, what's going to happen, how this is going to play out. Kind of like with Iran, what we were talking about before the show, where we can tell that it's just not going through the motions, but I'm going to do this, and they're going to do this, and then that's going to give us time to, to get more international support, if more international support is needed, and it's going to play out this way. So I wouldn't take him literally, like meaning it's not really a he said, she said. I mean, he knows Hamas aren't going to give up the weapons. They're going to be backed into a corner, and there might be, some more military action down.
But the military action is going to be left again to us.
I hope it's left up to us.
That's true. And at least if they don't disarm, we stay in that yellow line, which gives us more than 50% of Gaza, which means they lost if they didn't realize.
They need to lose, first of all. They have to lose territory. You can't go back to what was. It's not an option.
It's not defensible.
But I'm concerned because Trump doesn't have our worries, right? And he wants to play nice with Turkey, and he wants to play nice with Qatar, and he wants to play, he wants these people to come to the table. What is he going to give up that we're actually in the line of fire, not him? That's my worry.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't think he's smart or that he is not a good negotiator, but what matters to him isn't necessarily what matters to us. And that's my worry.
Absolutely.
Well, they opened up the Philadelphia corridor, and they opened that up for human traffic, not for goods and services. And they mainly opened it up for people to leave.
Right.
So I think that's actually funny, because they're basically saying, well, if you want to leave, this is your chance. Which, may give a lot of Gazans some opportunity at a better life somewhere else.
I hope so.
Why would you want to stay under these terrorists?
Yes. I agree.
Yes,
That's
it. Yes, sums it up. And maybe on that note,
well said.
but we should move over to the scumbag of the week. All right, everyone, our very popular segment. Are you all ready? Scumbag of the week. And every week I get so many wonderful messages from people saying, don't forget this one and don't forget that one. So we have always plenty to choose from. So Bellamy, who's your scumbag this week?
My scumbag for this week is the darling apologist, but mainly a product of Egyptian anti-Semitism, because it's something that never really truly leaves, and they do love slavery. Bassem Youssef, take a look.
What do you think about Erica Kirk?
Would I get sued?
Throw it in the pile. Of course you will.
I don't want to say anything that's controversial. She did it, but I don't want. She was on it. How can you believe a
They're like
country that
demonic.
has a very lucrative history of false flags operation? When they created the state of Israel, they didn't know how to bring all of these Jewish people from the Arab countries. It was easy to bring them from Europe, but they didn't. But they, like Jewish people in Iraq and in Egypt and Morocco, lived there for hundreds of years. 1951, Israel sends a Mossad agent, and then he leads 4 to 5 different bomb attacks on Jewish synagogues and Jewish communities.
You could just
They killed
rewrite
their own
history.
people.
October 7th.
And yes, and that happened in Iraq. And then because of that,
She's the C word.
150,000 Jews went in just like a year and a half to Israel. In 1994, the bombing of the Israeli embassy in London. 1 month after 9/11, which is the biggest false flag operation, in October
No, we did 9/11.
2001, there was an attack of the Mexican parliament by 2 Mossad individuals, and they were also like being they pretended to be Palestinians, but they were discovered before the war.
Pretended to be Palestinians. Except that this guy, let's not forget about it, is a comedian, a professional clown, right?
Well, that's how beautiful that. But that's what gets him off the hook every time, is to say, well, I'm a comedian. I can say, nothing's off limits.
Right.
No, that's what you actually believe. And let me say one thing to you. Turkey is great for hair plugs. Oh, you're receding at the point of exactly who you are. And Hashem does not like ugly.
Wow. I think Barakabad, he's actually vile. I don't understand why anybody invites him anywhere. And the fact that he basically throws out this thing that Jews were living in peace in these Arab countries. There was no Farhud in Iraq. There was no persecution of Jews anywhere. I mean, the guy, it's perfect for Candace. And I really hope that Erica Kirk sues the hell out of both of them. I really do. It's just...
What a vile thing to say.
What a vile, horrible person. Well done. He's a fantastic scumbag. He might even be candidate for scumbag of 2026, but let's wait to see how the year...
He won 2024.
How the year roll out he did with 2024.
Anti-Semitism, whatever, of the year. And not anti-Semite.
Semite of the year. Okay, David.
Okay, so my scumbag of the week, I mean, some might roll their eyes at me for this.
I would never.
Never. You're not known for rolling your eyes. So it's Roger Waters. Yeah, I know what you're all thinking. Roger Waters is like the scumbag every week.
Every waking moment.
But he has a reason, and I do want to mention, by the way, I have to point out that I had to fight to have him scumbag of the week with your producer. Why? Because apparently he was mentioned last week. So Bellamy, you mentioned him, but that was because Piers Morgan was the hero of the week. And when I saw that, I was like, wow. Piers Morgan as the hero of the week, that's a really, but you know what, I found myself agreeing with you, and that shows how convincing you are. So, so Roger Waters, why is he the my scumbag of the week? Why is this week different from all other weeks? That's the question. Okay, so in the very same interview that you referenced last week, he actually was shilling for the Iranian regime, believe it or not. He was. Absolute shilling for the Iranian regime. He was basically saying that, they were actually protecting the protesters, stopping the shopkeepers from getting mobbed and looted. I mean, the gym, I didn't know he was such a good gymnast. The mental gymnastics that he was actually doing was insane.
Well, he's a drunk.
Well, we'll get to that. All that fun. See, Fleur always ruins my punchlines, but we'll get to that in a minute. Okay, no, it's okay. You're very, very quick. So basically what happened was then he came out. So there was obviously a lot of backlash, because that's just like, come on, that's like even, the evil people in the world, there are some of them that are, well, wait a minute, I think you went too far with that one.
Honor amongst thieves.
Dearly stupid, honor amongst thieves, exactly. So he came out with like an apology, and let's just check it out.
To clear something up about the interview I did with Piers Morgan and about Iran. Okay, I misspoke. I apologize. I said I support the regime. What I support is the country of Iran, and I support its people's right to self-determination. So anything that can be done to dissuade the United States and Israel from starting a war with Iran, I would encourage. Do I like the Ayatollah Khomeini, whatever his name is? No, I don't. I can't stand the idea of any theocracy anywhere in the world, whether it's Iran or Israel or anywhere else.
Or a theocracy.
Okay, so I make myself clear, and I'm sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings. Do I still remember Mahsa Amini, who was killed by whoever it was back for the hijab laws and so on? Yeah, of course I do.
Could have been anyone.
She lives with me, and she always will. All
She
right.
lives with you?
So I'm with you, people of Iran. Do not become the 6th and 7th countries to be destroyed by the United States of America since November 2001, when they promised to do it. There's only you and Lebanon left.
What?
Okay, so what did you notice about that apology?
His dentures almost fell off.
Besides that, that's very good.
I think he's drunk.
No.
Okay.
So it was a non-apology. It was a non-apology.
It's actually, it's not just a non-apology. He's now, in a way, saying, okay, he's not a believer of the regime, like he does not believe in the Ayatollah, blah, blah, blah. But then he was actually full on shilling for, like, he was doing it doing their job for them before. And now all of a sudden he needs their support. I'm going on in circles right now.
No, what he's saying is that America and Israel are the aggressive power. That's
Exactly. That is right.
United States.
So, in other words, this so-called apology is just another excuse to bash America and Israel. I mean, he mentioned us like 2 or 3 times in that. I mean, if that was a drinking game, how many times he mentions US and Israel, I would say he was playing that drinking game.
theocracy? Has he been here?
I mean, he just can't help himself. And the other thing, there was another thing that you might have noticed. It's something physically about him. You were...
Dentures?
Okay,
Drunk?
so he had a bit of a boo-boo on his forehead. Did you notice the boo-boo on his forehead?
What is that?
Boo-boo is like the word for...
I know what it's.
Oh, okay, so...
Say, I rate 4 children.
Oh, yeah. So I think what happened was he got entangled with the wall, because I believe that this guy, as you mentioned, is drunk.
Oh, no,
This guy's just... Roger Waters is not playing with a full deck.
No, he's
but I'm telling you, he's playing with a full bottle.
Yes, I agree with that.
David! Very good, David.
And of course he was just blaming America. Like, that wasn't surprising.
The guy's Nazi was speaking to a chair on
If
people.
you hate America,
Yeah.
leave.
Yes.
I don't understand, but the simplest thing, if I didn't like one country at 17, I left.
Yes.
I don't think he knows where the exit is. He sniffles ground.
But if I,
It's sad.
Door. He can't get to the door. All right. Well, that is a fantastic. Thank you for reminding us, bringing him back and
Might be
reminding
back
us
again.
how much, unfortunately, you're right. And anybody who ever worked with him, by the way, has come out saying he's a despicable anti-Semite. He always was. He's a despicable person to work with. Sharon Osbourne is a hero. She says Ozzy hated him. Everybody hated him. The people in Pink Floyd hate him.
Well, David Gilmour, by the way,
David
he
Gilmour
follows
hates
me
him.
only because I promise you.
Oh,
He follows me, not because I'm fantastic, but because he asks
why?
He wants the good goss on Roger Waters. He knows where to come.
Yes, exactly. So you've been talking about that for a while. Shoshana, who's your scumbag this week, dear?
My scumbag is Max Blumenthal. That's generally what I do when anyone mentions his name. I cannot stand this human sack of garbage.
Yes.
For being utterly obsessed with Israel, blaming Israel for everything. Kind of like that guy, by the way. Maybe that's your future, Max. Maybe just like start now. Just start drinking now, because that's what you're going to be.
Yeah.
Shows for Iran, says that, see, this is why I didn't want to do it, because I can't even talk. I can't even talk to me, I'm so agitated. Shields for Iran says that the accounts aren't real, that they're being made up, that they know Israel did Gaza, and why someone's purpose is to undermine their own people. You claim to be Jewish, their own people, is beyond me. It's not even like, some people do it because like they really, I'm a fighter for justice and I don't undermine. I say this is a problem, we need to fix it. You don't want to fix problems. You just want to bring people down. And I want to tell you something. The whole Jewish world is reading about our leaving Egypt in these Torah portions these weeks. And what happened to the Jews who did this to their people in Egypt? They didn't come out.
Yeah.
They didn't come out.
Yeah.
They got taken with the Ayatollahs and the paros of that time, and you, my friend, are not going to come out of this. This is you sinking yourself, not your people.
He's a disgusting piece of garbage, and he's a rape denier. Because him and Aaron Mate, another crazy idiot, wrote an article a few months after October 7th saying that there was no sexual violence on October 7th. Now, of course, we all know that that's a lie because there's GoPro evidence. We also, Shoshana gave amazing prizes to women who unfortunately had to go and record and testify and write all this down and look at the forensics of the most disgusting, of the most violent sexual violence that ever was. And these two sacks of scum are basically saying it didn't happen. Okay. Shake off. I haven't even started with mine.
Take some water.
This is only Shoshana's. All right, mine is a little less scumbaggy, but still quite a. He's a scumbag in a different way. Don Lemon. Now, Don Lemon is a previous CNN anchor who got fired for saying on air about a woman, well, she's not in her prime anymore. So let's start with the fact that he's a so-called progressive who also seems to be a bit of a misogynist. That's Don Lemon. He got fired from CNN for that. I think it was CNN. And then he basically goes around terrible anti-Israel propaganda, interviewing the biggest scumbags in the world, like that say horrible things about Israel. Of course, not saying anything quite bad or quite as bad about the Iranian Islamic regime. But the reason he's my scumbag this week is because now he's taken it upon himself in his own little platform to protest or to go along with the protesters against ICE, which is the police force that is throwing out the illegal immigrants. But what he did this week, to me, is unforgivable. He went in with a bunch of protesters into a church on Sunday in the middle of a church service. That's what he did. He went in. I mean, he says, I'm not a protester. I was just recording it. But no, he was really acting like an activist, because then he went and tried to interview the priest who kept saying to him, listen, I'm in the middle of a service. Leave me alone. And the thing we like the most on this show is a scumbag with a happy ending. He's been arrested. He is currently facing a few charges against disrupting church service, disrupting people's freedom of worship, which is exactly what he did. But Don Lemon, honestly, he claims to be a progressive, inclusive, and he is everything that we all hate about woke. He's dumb. He's uninformed. He doesn't want to be informed. And all he's done for the last few years is shill against Trump and shill against Israel. And now he gets arrested for essentially going against a peaceful Christian church in the middle of their prayers and interrupting
So
them.
he was arrested. So talk about turning lemons into lemonade.
Oh, Jamie, you're on fire today.
I'm going to be the scumbag of next
Don
week.
Lemon, you are not lemonade. We are lemonade now. You're my scumbag of the week.
Woke in the street and oppressed in the sheets.
Oh.
So back when he was still on CNN,
Yeah.
and there was a split in the country with people that needed to wear masks, people that shouldn't wear masks, and he kept telling everybody in the country, if you're not vaccinated and if you don't wear a mask and you follow the guidelines, you are the person that's responsible for all the deaths that are taking place, only to then be seen with his white husband in Miami, Florida, maskless. Okay?
Oh, of course.
Amazing, because what are you doing in Florida where grandma and grandpa are dying?
Yes.
Okay, but he needed a vacation.
Well, it was a free state of Florida when people didn't have to wear masks.
Exactly. Good for you. But what he's done now is even more disgusting, because there's that separation of church and state with liberals that they don't understand. So now he'll bring it out and say it was freedom of speech. No. Separation of church and state. Yeah. You have to realize that you draw the line. If you want to be part of the protest, stay outside. Yeah. You wait for them to finish their service, and you can do whatever you want outside. Why did you go in? Exactly. And then you have Hanoi Jane Fonda protesting outside with her brand new hips, saying he is a professional journalist and this is a crime against him. Ma'am, after Vietnam, you should sit this one out.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's just incredible.
I mean, look, religions seem to be, it's this open hunting season no matter what with these so-called progressives.
Yeah.
The rules don't apply. The
Regressives.
Exactly.
They're regressives.
Yeah.
And you know, and the most beautiful thing actually, as a man came out of church and they said, somebody else was interviewing, so said, what do you think about what happened? He said, we love everyone. I came with my son to pray.
Yeah.
I came with my son to pray for the Lord. The Lord is my boss, nobody else's. And they ruined that for me. And they said, well, what do you want to say to the protesters? I said, I want to say that I love everyone.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Shut them dead. They can't handle it. Unbelievable. Don Lemon, what has come back? Okay. Now we have to go to heroes because we really have to cleanse our souls
really do.
from all the bad energy and the evil people that there are walking around this earth. And so we start again with you, Bellamy. Who's your hero this week?
My hero is TikTok.
Oh.
And that takes a lot for me to say.
Hold up.
TikTok completely removed Shamu's account. Take a look.
TikTok deleted my account. I had 1.4 million followers there. I have been bullying that platform for 4 years now, but TikTok deleted it. It's not restricted as a weekend. No, it's banned forever. You cannot just hide the truth by doing all of these childish stuff, trying to impose your rules, saying that they are the community rules. No, they are desire rules.
He just went to a famine, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you see the famine right there?
Yes.
But it was disgusting because in the video, she then shows Netanyahu speaking about social media and how we also need to be, going after anti-Semites online. So she's basically using the same trope that everybody else is using because now Oracle is the Dio owning TikTok, and now they're censoring everybody else. Listen, I tried to post a video that was taken down in less than a minute. If they're censoring you, they're censoring me. So where's the issue?
Yeah.
Where's the issue? And I'm sorry, I'm so grateful because TikTok University did something right. All of these kids are getting information on TikTok. Unfortunately, that's just the truth.
Yeah.
They treat it as their Bible and whatever. When I was going to school, you used to have to go to a library and read.
Yes.
Your brain actually had to function.
Really?
No. But so this is a very good thing because it actually helps to keep bad information and propaganda off. This is huge. She has a massive voice on social media.
Well, now she doesn't.
It's very massive.
Very.
I mean, I think I know where Hamas, by the way, I know that's not politically correct, but this is not a politically correct show. I think we know where Hamas are hiding their weapons. Sorry, stop. No, can't say this? Sorry.
All right. Well, David, you're on fire today.
I'm on fire. You've encouraged me.
Who's your hero?
So you mentioned Candace Owens a bit.
Yes.
So actually it's related to Candace Owens. Now, I don't actually know who is behind this, but a new X account has arisen from nowhere, and it's called Candace Owens Trying to Read.
Oh, yes.
You have to check this out.
If you can't compartmentalize, then I don't see how you're going to be able to, we don't like them, we don't agree with the industries they went into. All of that can be true. But you have to be able to compartmentalize that when you are looking at a case. Right? It wasn't because people were just trying to delegitimize him. It's such a ridiculous way to try to delegitimize the research that we have done. So it was a philosophy class called Senior Sem, and he used to come in every day with a debacle, and he would ask us, I remember that whole debacle? This debacle with her earrings. The Hamptons debacle came up. The Brett Kavanaugh hearings and debacle involved in this entire debacle. 1,000 ways that you can honor Charlie. Stop telling us that it has to always be Miss Macabre, like we have to have the bloody might.
So that account has been established. It's brilliant. It's been established for one purpose, which is basically to show Candace Owens' very creative relationship with the English language. And what I love about it, I mean, it's amazing, and I'm a big believer in exposing anti-Semites, but I believe in doing it. I guess this is a bit of an Australian expression, so stop me if you don't understand what I mean. I don't believe in playing it with a straight bat, meaning if you take it so seriously, they actually take pride in that. Candace Owens won the Anti-Semite of the Year in 2024, whatever that award is.
Right.
I don't really believe in those awards, and she loved that because it was like a serious award. Oh, look at me, and look at they're trying to silence me, and it sort of almost empowers her, like it gives her sort of something to hang her hat on. But when you start using mockery, what I've noticed, I'm not a psychologist and I can't explain it necessarily, but it just works.
Yeah.
It drives them crazy. And the more it drives them crazy, the more that they, it's sort of like if you have like a friend and they're angry and you say, calm down to them, and you keep saying,
They're not
calm down.
great strategy.
So it's a similar thing.
Don't even present.
Because then it gives you more sort of ammunition. So I love that. The only objection I have to this account is I didn't think of it.
Yeah.
But then it's a hysterical account. I saw some of the videos. She just can't read in some places. And it just shows that she's actually dumb.
She's actually dumb.
She's ignorant.
She's dumb.
Yeah.
She plays a good game, like a lot of people do. But ultimately, she's probably not very educated and just riding on this wave of whatever that she's on, or hate, because it's popular to be anti-Semitic.
Exactly.
And that's why all these idiots have so many followers. They don't understand that it's not about them. It's about the fact that they're hating on Jews, and that seems to be popular right now.
Yeah. Humor's a great way to go.
But anyway, thank God for humor.
Yeah.
Thank God. I've got a feeling that person may be Jewish.
I'm Jesse.
Because thank God that's what's kept us going for 2,500 years in exile, our humor.
Mark Ben Shapiro, we never.
It might be the Daily Wire. But then Lyle, what's his name? Culpepper did a funny kind of reaction video to that, and he's also hilarious.
He's very good.
He's excellent, actually. So that's a great hero. We like that. We like satire.
We do.
It's the best way to bring people down.
Absolutely.
I completely agree with you. All right, Shoshana.
So I have a very different kind of hero this week, and it actually includes everyone here, because the heroes I see, you mentioned, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that every Israeli was basically ready to go into the bomb shelter to free the people of Iran.
Yeah.
And I can only tell you, myself, my friends, my kids, every single day, I'm thinking, where are my children? How far am I from getting them home?
Yeah.
How long am I going to have, to get them when we are told that America does attack Iran? Because we already know, and the Ayatollah said it again today in Hebrew, that he will attack us, So every Israeli that's still going on with their day, and also worrying about where they're going to be, where their kids are going to be, where their parents are going to be, where their friends are going to be, how they're going to get from one place to another. Are they going to travel? I'm supposed to travel. I don't know if I'm going to travel. It's a constant stress that we carry, and we carry mostly willingly, I would say, because we want to see the people of Iran freed. And I would like to just shout out to all of us to say, that's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing.
I think it's a wonderful thing. It says who we are as a people. That's what it says.
Yeah.
That we know who the evil is, and we're willing to take the hit for evil to disappear from the world.
And it's not an easy thing to carry. So we've just gone through 2 years of war. We need a break. And yet we're like, all right, well, we got to do what we got to do. And it's a wonderful resilience that I think we have. And so everyone.
Let's give ourselves a clap. Well done. And actually, that very nicely segues on to my hero this week. And I had a real privilege to have dinner with him. His name is Menashe Amir. Menashe Amir is a Persian-speaking man, Israeli broadcaster for over 40 years. He's 85 years old, 86 years old. He was, when Shoshana, myself, and Ateret and Emily organized the first protest ever in Israel for the women of Iran, when it was a Women Life Freedom protest a few years back, way before October 7th. He came.
Yeah.
And last week I was in another protest in Holon, and he was there, and he's there in every protest. And he is actually the voice of Israel. He was the head of the Persian desk of Kol Israel, which was the Israel national broadcaster. And millions of people heard him and his commentary from Israel in Persian every day for years.
Wow.
During the Iran and Iraq war, he became a national treasure in Iran. Why? Because he would tell people in Iran where Iraq was going to attack, because the Iranian government didn't bother telling their people because they didn't want to cause panic. But he would hear the broadcasts in Arabic coming from Iraq in Israel, and he would then broadcast and warn people to move out of the way. This man, I bumped into another man in the protest who's not Jewish, married to a lovely Jewish woman. And he said to me, Flo, you have to understand, Menashe is a national treasure because we love him for giving pure news and commonsensical commentary in Persian coming from Israel. Every day, he's 86 years old. He has a YouTube channel every day.
Wow.
He has 50, 60,000 views
That's amazing.
every morning.
Wow.
Amazing.
86 years old. And he invited me to his house to interview me, which he then translated into Persian.
Wow.
And then he made me dinner.
Wow.
The most delicious Persian food I have eaten
Yeah.
in a long time. And we had such a wonderful night. And he is such a gem of a man, humble and smart and sharp as a whip. And again, this is an Israeli Persian man. His family had to leave Iran and then became a voice for all those voiceless people in Iran from Israel.
Amazing.
So Menashe Amir, I really appreciated our time together. I learned so much from him. He's given me a blow-by-blow account of what may happen in the next few weeks. And so far, he's proving to be correct at every move. And so you are a national treasure, not just for the Iranian people, but also for the Jewish people and the people of Israel.
Now
You and
that's
I-
a real influencer.
Beautiful.
Oh, that's a
He's
real.
the OG influencer.
Beautiful.
OG influencer. 60,000 people every day. He's 86 years old. It's amazing.
Goals, life goals.
Life goal. Okay, and on that wonderful note, for the first time in over 2 years, we don't have to pray for the return of
It's incredible.
It is such an incredible moment. I didn't know whether we'd get here, honestly. There are other things to pray for. We need to see back the body of Eli Cohen that is still in Syria. There was a spy for Israel that did incredible work in helping us beat the people who started multiple wars against us.
There's actually a young man's head is still in Gaza. I forgot his name, and I'm sorry, I should have prepared it. But his parents are actively asking the idea to please bring it home.
to pray for that dignified burial. And we pray for the freedom of the innocent people of Iran. And we pray for peace and quiet in this region. What more can we do? Anyway, we will see you next week. Thank you for watching.